Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. It is a beautiful day in the market, and ever since I have started to wyckoff in the evening and in the morning, I sleep like a baby. There has been multiple 100% gains in many different areas, and Bitcoin is one of the least exciting, but one of the most important parts of our trading portfolio, understanding that it is our money, and a lot of the other altcoin space basically represents venture funds, and understanding the difference between those things can make you successful or not. So we're going to be going over, again, what I think to be the most important thing that you should understand as a retail investor to make sure that you do not get fleeced. So make sure you stay around till the end of the video to make sure you get all that juicy, sweet content the Arcane Bear is producing. And with that in mind, let's just go ahead and dive right into the charts. So Bitcoin, right? Our money, the money of the sector of the decentralized finance world. This is what everybody's interested in acquiring more of, and also what we're using as the backbone for the growth of this ecosystem. Now, we've been consolidating in this range here, and for those of you who happen to be my favorite White Coffee and Bear friends in the Bear Forge, you can tell that we're in a little bit of a predicament. But it doesn't actually really matter, especially if you're well positioned in the rest of the ecosystem. If you are a Bitcoin maximalist still today, I'm sorry, but that shows a degradation in your understanding of what is actually happening here, and I don't think that you know what it is that you are talking about. So a quick shout out there to all my friends who happen to be Bitcoin maximalists. You might want to pay attention to what's going on in the alternative space, because this is where the new venture circle has started in trying to understand what's going on and how Bitcoin can be used to build the rest of these financial applications. So we can see that we might actually be creating a distribution area here. And again, we've talked about this retest down to maybe even the $9,000 area. This is going to be a really big moment, especially with where we are on the POC line right now. If we close above this and start to break out of the box, that's going to signal to the market that we're going to 14,000. Again, that's a big move for us. Even if we go down, though, it doesn't make a difference to the rest of our positions and our trading thesis. So why does it make a difference? Why do you need to understand this, and what's the importance of understanding it? So let's take a look at the play that we've been playing with for quite some time. So for those of you that joined the private bear den the last while, thank you very much. Over 100 something new members in the last 2 weeks, probably because you guys are all seeing how extremely powerful this method is. So if you haven't signed up for the bear den and you want to, do it today, because we're going to be doubling the price of the bear den. We've just upgraded to a new Discord chat. Everybody's extremely happy. So many people are doing so well. I get messages on the daily right now about how great each of them are doing, because they're learning, they're studying, and they're making their own decisions. So in the Arcane Bear, we don't tell you what to buy, what to sell at any point. That's financial advice, and we do not give that. What we aim to do is help everyone get better at understanding and visualizing and seeing these patterns that can be profitable, so that if you want, you can make the decision to do so. So I started building my position in BAT since the beginning of August. It took around 20 days to do so. I managed to take quite a nice bite and chunk out of the markets here. And on every one of these LPS tests, I actually bought more. Now, you'll probably hear a bunch of cocky people like, oh yeah, I'm always buying that. Yep, we did. You know the reason why? And the reason why I did not worry that this might look like a head and shoulders at all is because when you know the larger story right now, and you can see when you understand what the Wyckoff method brings to the table, you know that where we are right now is going to go. We've seen the sign of strength. We're going to see a backup, and then we're going to see a massive explosion. And all I'm trying to do is get into position here so I can start to distribute up here. This is where most retail traders start buying. This is where they likely close out their positions in the positions that I'm just about to take, right? So I'll be building positions in a few other tokens like Litecoin, and this is probably where they'll be selling their Litecoin to jump into BAT right before BAT starts to decline, because I'm selling. Now, I hope that makes sense, because this is important to understand. If you do not understand this, you will not be a good trader. If you're day trading side, flash, swag, dag, all that nonsense, you're probably not going to do that well. And as a matter of fact, the fact that I didn't know this up until this year is pretty ridiculous to me. So understanding the Wyckoff Karate Kid methodology here gives you the ability to see the waveform or the footprint of large market money, interest, and what they plan on doing. So here we can see this direct change of character in box D, and the final LPS and backup it looks like we're going to be forming in the next days. The backup phase is one of the most powerful areas to enter, and I suspect a lot of traders who are more in the retail sector who don't have, say, $100 million to bag would be entering here. I myself currently fit into this category, but as a thesis trader, I started building here because I want to prove something to myself. I want to prove that I can accumulate here, and I can here and here, and I even distributed here and here yesterday, but in very small amounts, assuming that we're going to see this backup phase again create a nice little bucket shape here before again leaving this little area of trading. Now I'm going to make this as blatantly and clear as obvious. So let's take a look at one of my favorite tokens. Here we are with Fetch. I initially made, gonna have to delete that. I initially made the Fetch trade back in June. You can see this by following us for free on the Arcane Bear Trading View account. Although we don't post there as much anymore, everything gets shared into the private group instead because I just don't have the time to post here and there. It gets all shared to the private group. So nonetheless, we took our entries in Fetch right at the bottom. I got lucky. I'm not going to say that I knew what I was doing perfectly to get that. I just happened to get lucky and get in right after the spike. So we saw a massive 300% gain from that initial entry, almost 400% at its top, and now we're seeing the backup. So here's a falling wedge into your spike, the change of character, your test, your first LPS, your second LPS, sign of strength, and then your backup point here. So I actually started accumulating more Fetch the last few days, as you can see here on the 45 minute, not the 4 hour. This gave us an area of accumulation, and yesterday and the day after I was actually accumulating more in this area as well. I do suspect that Fetch is going to be one of my long-term favorites. It has a lot going for it, and if you do a little bit of deep dive, which I suggest, but not necessary based off these trading styles, technically I don't really care what they're called. It doesn't matter as long as I can see the footprint of big market money interest. They've done the homework for me, and I can follow them through their waves. I do suspect Fetch is going to be a big game changer. I think it's one of Binance's little golden boy tickets alongside Seller, Matic, and One. So just to be clear here, let's take a look at what Seller did, as it made a very beautiful backup phase previously. Had I been more confident about what the backup phase is as I am today, I would have been building massive entries in Seller for exactly this reason. Here we see the sign of strength, the backup to the inside the box, and then once the box breaks out, you see a 90 to 100% move. Another identical play here in Seller, although the backup phase here was maybe a little bit less consistent, because we did from the top of our automatic rally from our selling climax here. So you've got your selling climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test, your spring, your change of character, and your LPS test all the way to the top. This is, I think we're just concluding the backup into One and Seller now. So I started accumulating more One as well. So let's go earlier into the phase and gives ourselves more time. Here we have Litecoin open on the charts, and this is again where most retail traders will make the mistake. They're seeing everything explode right now, so they sell those positions like in Litecoin to go get on OMG after it's already exploded. Wrong choice. I know it's hard to do, but you want to buy when things are cheap, not when they are expensive. You want to buy them when they're low, and you want to sell them as they get higher. Now it sounds like a plain and simple, like, oh, everybody can do that, right? Just look for when it's lower and buy higher. It is actually counterintuitive for your emotional body to do that, and it's very difficult to do. So I buy into selling pressure, right? Because I want to accumulate those selling climaxes, right? Like here, and the tests. So I've been accumulating Litecoin because again, my goal here is to build a multi-month position into that explosion before it gets to the point of the final backup phase. So let's take a look at Algo and Quantum as well, just because again, I believe what we are about to witness here is the backup phase. So if you guys are new to the Bear family, or if you're new to charting at all, again, you have to do this. And again, why not? Last chance, join the private Bear Den for $30 a month, or the $209 for a 30% discount on the year, because I will be doubling the price because of how good of results everyone's been getting. And I want to make sure that if you want to learn how to do this well, you're at least putting X amount of skin in the game. And for the amount of return that you can get if you do your own homework, which also reminds me to tell you that you don't have to join. You can learn all of this for free on the internet. We just happen to have a group of over 300 people that are all extremely talented, compassionate, well thought individuals that work together and provide all the data to help make you fine tune your choices. So we don't give you, again, the calls. We don't tell you what to buy or what to sell. We're going to help you refine your ability to see these things. And once you know how to do it, you can take responsibility for your own trades. I encourage the responsible, critical thinking individuals. If you show up into our group and just ask when sell, when buy, no, I'm sorry, I'll give you a refund. You can leave. We don't need that here. We are only looking for people who are interested in learning and becoming better investors and traders themselves, and take personal responsibility for everything that they're doing. So if you don't know what this Wyckoff stuff is, you can go find it for free. It doesn't really matter. Or you can join a group that is actively focused it on a day-to-day basis and doing really well. So Algorand looks to me like it's making this backup phase into E. So I'm very excited about that. Quantum, it actually looked like it made its backup phase previously here. So I was a little late to the game on Quantum. We had drawn it up. I didn't get a chance to make an entry, but shout out to everyone who did in the Bear family. I'm into like 15 different tokens. I have like the biggest polyamorous relationship with tokens right now. We're just like in bed with this token and then out of the bed with that token, like on a day-to-day basis right now. I mean, I'm not exiting my positions. I'm just going from one to the other. Like I want a taste of that. I want a bite of this. I want to nibble on that. Yeah. Nibble on the way, right? Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, well, Quantum looks very similar to OMG. So let's use this as a comparative analysis again, because I think that's what's important. So let's open up OMG because this was a big win for some of the Bear Den. Again, shout out to Leah Bear, one of our private traders. She is fantastic. She's been exceptionally good at recognizing these backup phases and taking entries within the few days before it explodes. Again, what you're looking for here is generally rising price on lower volume. Yeah, I know it's counterintuitive, but that's the truth. A bull market is made of lower volume, but rising price. That's because there's limited supply, and that's what you're looking for. LPS, the last point of supply. Once that supply is gone, this is what you see. Market man, the composite operator. We are comp man. We drive this price up. So everyone's interest gets in it. All the retail investors, oh my God, they sell their Litecoin and they buy into OMG, like, yay, I'm finally going to make profits. And it goes up a little bit. And then guess what? It starts to distribute. But after this backup phase, 295%, right? That means if you can identify a backup phase, let's say you've got 68 days to make an entry into OMG before you have an explosion, right? Boom, 300%. But here's what I'm doing. I'm actually giving myself even more time. I'm trying to make the entry back into phase C, right? You should only do this if you're interested in managing like an exorbitant amount of money. I'm just trying to build a thesis right now to prove a point. So here you go, this backup phase, very, very limited time exposure, very, very high return on investment, and you can run your stop loss very tight near the bottom of your box, right? You don't ever want it to run too tight, especially if you're playing on leverage, because here we can see the box of this backup phase was 26%. That means it would wipe you out unless you had the capital to cover. So make sure if you are playing in a game there you have to cover, you can cover your accounts. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. It's a very important part of trading is understanding your ability to move capital in and out of a market and then distribute along that way. So OMG represents what happens after the backup phase. Now let's look at the tertiary aspects after that backup phase, okay? So what I'm trying to do here is give you guys a really quick picture of how powerful this stuff can be. So here we see our spike down. Actually, this is technically a little bit longer. This would be your final LPS. You've got your backup phase here. And just as a breakout of the backup, you see, again, something very similar to what OMG just did, which is around 290% up to the top of the first wave. And then you see this beautiful, usually 40% retracement, somewhere around 90 days, And then what we start to see here again is the takeoff into what might become waves 2 and 3, effectively 2. So it's important to understand that these are long-term plays, and it looks like we're actually forming an inverse head and shoulders here on Zilliqa too. So I've been looking to take positions in Zilliqa, and I probably will just to test the thesis of the later stages down the road, because I think it's super important to understand that even though we leave the box, we're going to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my plan is to be distributing and exiting most of my positions into waves 3 and 5 and accumulating entirely in wave 3. So it's super important. One sec, dog. Well, so this is the beautiful, this is the beauty of seeing the phase changes and your direct move of markets over time, is it gives you the ability to map out maybe the next 6 months of entries and exits. So thank you guys all for joining us. Remember, join the Arcane Bear Den, but it's full, right? So the next few days, as soon as I have the chance to go in, we're raising the prices, and they will never come back down that low again, especially after what we've seen in terms of success and what I believe we're about to see in the future. So this is Teal with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us today. I really appreciate your support. Smash that thumbs up button if you like this content. If you are a private member and you've been enjoying what's been going on in the background, please leave those comments in the thoughts down below so people can see your guys' view on this. And check out the cool shirt I painted everyone. This is my new marshmallow shirt. I love when I'm bored, I just start working on new things and seeing where the universe takes me. So shout out to my new marshmallow shirt. It's one of my favorite things ever. Thank you guys again for the support. This means a whole lot to me. I can't imagine where I'd be without the support of the community of the Arcane Bear. This has been one of the most exciting, most interesting, and Definitely the most creative aspects of business I've ever been able to experience. Being able to rant in the jungle, to make music, to freestyle, to make videos of me painting my t-shirt, and you guys still find that interesting. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, that means so much to me, because we're appreciating the same wealth of life, which is not just financial. It's about those deeper things, like when it rains, or the sound of the ants chewing leaves. That is irreplaceable wealth, and all it has to do with is your ability to say, thank you. I am grateful for this moment. I am grateful for the gifts that I am receiving from the present, and I will do my best to repay that by being an active and movement part of this universe into, hopefully, a new day. Steve with the Arcane Bear, I'm signing off, and we'll see you guys again on the other side. I'm actually going to give you my logo too. Ciao.